Shot.
Yeah, boy.
Hey guys, what's going on? Today, I would like to go over the Wild Hunter skill tree. This is a class of skills in Outward that I have often overlooked in the past. It offers some really good skills, but isn't focused on mage-related gameplay, which I tend to favor the most. Instead, it focuses on dealing hard-hitting attacks that knock over enemies quickly. Impact is the best thing to come from this skill tree, as well as high damage. Plus, you get a lot of bonuses to bow-related skills. Since there are not many of those in this game, you should become familiar with this tree as soon as possible if you wish to blink away at a safe distance. This is the Wild Hunter skill tree in Berg, and everything you should know about it. Evasion Shot is a skill only usable with a bow equipped, and it can be grabbed regardless of if you take this tree or not. It shoots an arrow while your character jumps backwards, inflicting cripple on anything it hits. Cripple slows enemies by 50% for 10 seconds. Since range is a major factor when using a bow, slowing your enemies can increase the number of arrows you get off before getting attacked. Evasion Shot is extremely helpful and can get you out of melee range at the last second if you time it correctly. It does cost 12 stamina and has a cooldown of 30 seconds, so you can't spam it, but it comes back fast enough to use more than once in longer fights. Mastering the movement of the jump backwards will make this skill really fun to use. Enrage is both really good and really bad. This skill gives you the Rage boon, which increases the impact of your attacks. Obviously, this is crazy helpful since you can keep enemies from fighting back much more quickly with it active. The major downside to using it, however, is that it burns 4 health and takes a whopping 500 seconds to come back. You won't be using it for some time after activation. Luckily, burnt health can be fixed quite easily with teas, and the buff lasts almost half of the cooldown time with 240 seconds. This skill is a double-edged sword, but in the grand scheme of things, 4 health is nothing for an extra 25% impact bonus. Every build should be using Enrage even if you use Mage. Impact is the best. Hunter's Eye is a simple skill. It is a passive that is always active and lets you lock onto targets from much longer distances. It literally doubles the distance you can lock on with a bow, and is great for the Hex skill Jinx as well, since that can be used with a bow equipped. Further lock on means less arrows missed and more damage dealt to enemies before they reach you. Sniper Shot can only be bought after you purchase Hunter's Eye, and is one of your highest damaging bow skills. This thing pulls back pretty slow, which means it's harder to use in combat. It shines at the start of combat, however, to lock on from a distance and deal massive damage before you fight. Using this skill can be done at close range, but it will often result in taking damage if you aren't timing attacks well enough. Sniper Shot deals 2.5 times damage and 3 times impact, while consuming 15 stamina and having a cooldown of 30 seconds. None of the bow skills have a very long cooldown, but it is long enough that you can't only focus on using them. Sniper Shot is amazing with any build because you can deal a lot of damage before the fight starts, and then easily switch off of a bow onto something else. Survivor's Resilience is a passive skill that can only be purchased after you give up one of your 3 breakthrough points. Taking this passive means you can only take 2 other full skill trees, but it gives you access to the much stronger skills Wild Hunter has to offer. It also increases your health by 40. This, of course, is never a bad thing, because who complains about more health? If you're taking too many hits in combat, this might give you a bit more time before you get killed. At this point in the skill tree, you must make a choice between Predator Leap and Piercing Shot. You can't learn both at once, as the other will be locked out after you purchase either of them. Take Predator Leap for more melee-focused builds, and run with Piercing Shot for another great bow skill. Piercing Shot is something you should grab if you're running purely bow and outward. It deals extra damage and goes straight through enemies, allowing it to hit multiple targets at once. This only happens every once in a while, but looks pretty awesome. Its cooldown is still only 30 seconds, which is great for such a powerful skill. The best part of this skill, however, is the fact that it inflicts extreme bleeding. This will cause opponents you face to take a lot of damage even when you aren't hitting them. And since this skill lets your arrow go through enemies, it has the potential to bleed everything you're fighting at once. Piercing Shot is one of the better skills to get early on if you're unfamiliar with the game. It gives constant damage to focus on things like dodging and attack timings. Consider it if you want a great ranged option. Predator Leap is an impact skill. Go into this with that in mind because it staggers enemies in basically one hit. You'll leap forward with a fast slam down that creates a small shockwave of sorts. Multiple enemies will be affected by this at once if they're close enough, and it looks awesome. This skill offers plus 30 impact, 1.5 extra damage, and 2 times the impact. It hits hard and is great for tougher enemies. Unfortunately, this skill is so strong that it comes with many downsides. First off, its cooldown hurts a lot. It's only 40 seconds, but that seems like forever when you're in combat. It also eats away at your weapon. Like 3 activations with the skill can take a quarter of your durability away. It can also only be used if you have the Rage boon active. Like I've said many times before on this channel, you should always have that active when going into combat, but if you get surprised, you might not be able to even use Predator Leap at all. This skill is a great attack skill and deals a lot of impact, making it worth it. But do be aware, it has some downsides we can't ignore. Feral Strikes is one of the meanest skills in Outward and deals massive damage to enemies. It's best used with a heavy weapon and can give you a massive advantage in any battle. It inflicts pain and extreme bleeding, also multiplying your damage and impact by 1.75, demolishing even larger enemies such as giants and immaculates. The cooldown is only 8 seconds, which is crazy, and it doesn't eat your durability as quickly as Predator Leap either. This skill is a beast. But why does it seem so much better than its little brother Predator Leap? It instantly gets rid of your Rage boon upon activation. Yeah, this skill also requires that Rage boon, but will disintegrate your buff when used. So 8 seconds after cooldown is great, but it can't even be used after that most of the time. However, there is one workaround to make this skill spam worthy, and that is Enrage potions. Craft them in an alchemy kit with water, smoke root, and a gravel beetle. Not the easiest potion to make, but not the hardest either. And you get 3 per craft. Take one of these every time you use Feral Strike, and you have a fast yet high-powered skill that can be used in every 8 seconds. Not perfect, but pretty fun with a stronger weapon. I forgot to mention, but this skill also hits twice, which makes it even better. The Wild Hunter skill tree is often overlooked because it doesn't offer mana regen, extra elemental damage, or faster cooldown. But you really should give it a second look. With a strong weapon such as the Sar Great Axe, you can cut down enemies in 2 quick strokes, or ground slam them back into whatever hole they crawled out of. You can also go a completely different path and become the most skilled ranger in the wild. Bleeding and impact are the 2 main themes of the Wild Hunter skill tree, and it comes in handy when you can't find an opening to attack. Make your own opening and go from prey to hunter. Wind Infuse is probably one of the few skills that even rivals this tree's impact if you use it correctly. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and consider hitting that like button down below if you would be so kind. I really think this tree is something special, even if it doesn't get as much attention as some of the others. And it's one of the easiest skill trees to get to, sitting right inside a Berg. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.